Kickoff, seconds away, right down to the field we go. Pam Oliver with Cowboys tight end Jason Witten.
Jason, tell me your offensive priorities today and how you hope to accomplish them.
Well, we got a lot of momentum coming into this game, and this is a tough team. So we got to handle this crowd noise, try to quiet it down early, and just execute.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Let's go over to Chris Myers, who's standing by with Jared Allen.
And the noise is a factor. It's hard to hear what's going on. We just heard from Jason Witten. How do you use that noise here against Tony Romo and the offense of Dallas?
I mean, if you can't get excited for this, you don't belong in this game, and this should help with the snap count. It's going to even the playing field. Hopefully we can get after them.
I know you've been waiting for 2 weeks to hit somebody. Good luck. Have
Thanks
fun.
very much. Thanks, guys.
All right, back up to you, Joe.
All right, Jared Allen, who had 14 and a half sacks. Here's Keith Brooking, who's the emotional leader of this defense. And there's plenty of emotion riding through this crowd here at Mall of America Field, the Metrodome. Cowboys won the toss. They receive. Ogletree will get a running start from the 16. Short kickoff, short return of just 12 yards. Eric Frampton on the tackle. And here come the Dallas Cowboys, the #2 offense during the regular season. Put up 426 yards on the Philadelphia Eagles last week. In the playoff game, Miles Austin is a Pro Bowler. He has burst onto the scene in an offensive line that's playing for the second straight week with Mark Colombo back at right tackle.
It's an entire offense playing with great confidence. You heard Jason Witten say it himself. The Minnesota Vikings are the only team in the NFL defensively not to give up an opening drive touchdown.
Quick snap count and a quick completion of Miles Austin. Brought down immediately by Griffin, a gain of 6, however, and we look at the defense. They're always good against the run. And when you talk to defensive coordinator Troy Leslie Frazier, he said we go into any game believing that we can hang our hat on stopping the run, and then you focus on the passing game of the Dallas Cowboys.
And there's reason for that kind of confidence. They led the league in stopping the run for 3 years in a row. This year they finished second, something they can hang their hat on, knowing that most likely they're going to be able to control an opposing running game.
Here's a chance trying to stop the run, and it's Felix Jones, who had a record-setting day for the Cowboys last week. And it looks like they're going to mark Felix a half yard shy of a first down. Last week, Felix Jones with a career high 16 carry 148 yard day against Philadelphia with a franchise record 73-yard touchdown run. It's 3rd and inches. They flip it to Miles Austin. And an interesting play. Instead of pounding it up inside on 3rd and inches, it's an 8-yard carry by Miles Austin.
Well, Jared Allen collapses as he should. I mean, you're expecting something inside, and so then that gives up the edge, and that's why they're able to then flip it out to Austin and pick up the first down. Dallas had struggled late in the year trying to pick up 3rd and 1s, particularly with Marion Barber. They've come with a little different look trying to get on the perimeter, and they pick up their first one.
I don't think there's been a hotter play caller in the NFL than Jason Garrett, the offensive coordinator for Dallas. He has really mixed it up.
And he's been good early in games, Joe. I mean, this is where Dallas has really excelled over the last 4 games.
Extra men on the rush. Cowboys pick it up, and Romo throws it away. Romo ends up on the ground. Roy Williams the closest receiver to it, but not much pressure on Tony Romo as he dropped back.
Yeah, no, he had some time. Ray Edwards finally gets in there late. Romo just couldn't find anywhere to go with the football and has to unload it. And I really believe that Ray Edwards is going to have a big game today. Jared Allen, yes, but he's going to attract a lot of the attention from this Dallas Cowboy offense. Ray Edwards oftentimes is going to be singled up, and he's going to have an impact.
On 2nd down, Romo throws for Austin, who makes a leaping grab, and Miles Austin is good for 9. Benny Sapp, the starting corner, on the tackle, and Austin went up to get it.
Well, it was a called running play, and Tony Romo just decided that he could come out and make the quick throw to Miles Austin and get it in his hands. Benny Sapp was in a great position, and he just didn't stay with him once Romo was able to buy more time.
Wade Phillips finally got his first last week against the Eagles. Romo got his first win. It's 3rd and 1. So out of the shotgun on 3rd and 1, and Patrick Creighton is left alone. Creighton fights his way inside the 35 to the 34, and an impressive opening drive so far for Dallas.
Well, let me show you why Creighton was so wide open. Jason Witten, no secret on 3rd and medium. They want to go to him. He attracts 3 guys once he goes into his route, and the one who was supposed to be then on Creighton, he collapses on Witten as well. It opened up the outside route for Patrick Creighton, and Tony Romo does a good job of finding him.
They fake the handoff to Felix Jones. Romo ducks under the pressure and then throws incomplete. Arm was moving forward. It's an incomplete pass. Deion Anderson was there to fall on it for Dallas. It's 2nd and 10.
Well, right now, I mean, you look at what's happened here defensively, and Dallas putting together a pretty good drive, and we touched on it a little bit there, Joe. Dallas has had a great deal of success here during this winning streak of getting out on opponents early. It's the one thing that Minnesota wanted to avoid, but Dallas has put together a nice drive here on the opening drive of the game.
On 2nd and 10, handoff is to Felix Jones, and he's brought down by Ray Edwards, a loss of 4.
Yeah, Ray Edwards, he runs a little bit of a twist route. A nice job on his part. He had the right call. You're going to see him here, and he's going to twist inside. And he's right there then in the hole on Felix Jones.
Right now, Dallas is outside field goal range for Sweezum. So far, they're 2 for 2 on 3rd down on this drive. Romo goes down. Ball comes out. Minnesota takes over at the 35. Edwards knocked it away. Kevin Williams ends up with a football.
You know, Leslie Frazier challenged Ray Edwards coming into this ball game that he was going to have to show up and be big. He was big on that series and forces the fumble.
Timeout on the field. Favre and the Vikings offense takes over. No score.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag, it's on.
We've looked at the replay a number of times to see if Romo's left knee was down. It's starting to come out. No challenge by Dallas. It's called a fumble, forced by Ray Edwards, recovered by Kevin Williams. And now Favre. Starts with a throw over the middle and an out in the hands of Adrian Peterson. Back to that Romo fumble.
Yeah, you take a look at it and you see when his knee is on the ground, the ball's not completely out at the time that his knee touches the turf, but the way that the rule reads is that he's got to have complete possession of the ball once his knee is on the ground, and that was not the case. That was a good call there by the official, and it was a good non-challenge then by Wade Phillips. He has done a heck of a job here over the last half of the season in making some good challenges that have impacted the outcome of games.
On 2nd and 10, here's the first run of the day by Adrian Peterson over the right side, picks up 3. And by the way, just to clarify, it would have been 4th down anyway had the fumble not occurred. And basically what you're talking about is a difference in field position. They were outside field goal range, so then it would have been up to Matt McBriar to try and pin the Vikings down deep. As it is, they take over at their 35 and now faced with 3rd and 7. Extra men on the rush, and Favre goes down. And who is it? DeMarcus Ware. He's slow to get up. A loss of 8. It's 4th down, and Ware is injured. Gets lifted back to his feet and jogs off the field. Here's a guy who played with a sprained neck. After suffering it against San Diego, he's played with a bad foot, a fracture in his wrist, and he gets a sack. 14 sacks in his last 14 games.
Well, an absolute breakdown in protection right there. Chester Taylor was to that side, should have tried to help pick him up. He lets DeMarcus Ware completely free. I mean, no excuse for that.
Fair catch called for by Creighton. Cowboys get it right back. A quick 3 and out for the Minnesota Vikings offense, and it ends with a DeMarcus Ware sack. No score, first quarter.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. With the just right taste that's not too heavy, not too light, the difference is drinkability.
Well, the word from the sideline is DeMarcus Ware is fine. Here's why he was slow to get up. As he goes over the top of Favre, he goes head first in the backside of Brian McKinney. Remember, he sprained his neck against San Diego, then was playing 6 days later in New Orleans. He's helped to his feet. And again, the word is he's fine. Handoff to Felix Jones over the left side. Gets tripped up. Greenway made the stop, a gain of 8.
Now you watch Jasper Brinkley. He's the rookie linebacker who's filling in for E.J. Henderson right here, and he has a tendency to take some false steps, and you're going to see the way that he hits it here off tackle. And then Felix Jones, it was simply misdirection. But that middle linebacker, when you're running misdirection, is the guy who needs to be scraping off that edge. And he's a young guy who's still trying to find his way. Just making his 5th start now at that spot.
2nd down and 2, and here's a first down carry for Felix Jones, who no doubt, Troy, has taken over as the lead back for the Dallas Cowboys. Marion Barber is bothered by a swollen bursa sac in his left knee. Got only 3 carries last week, and Felix Jones, they're riding their 2nd-year running back.
Well, they sure are, and you know, he's really come along this year. He was regarded as just a speed guy and someone that maybe didn't finish runs, was not real powerful, but nothing could be further from the truth. This guy is hard to bring down, and he is an excellent runner between the tackles. In fact, he is better. He averages more yards per carry after contact than even Adrian Peterson.
Here's another try for him out of the backfield, catching a pass, making a move. And what a move he put on Cedric Griffin.
And so then, I'm sorry, Joe. So then you add the power that he brings, and then some of the elusiveness that he has in the open field. I mean, this is where they would prefer for him to be, is out on the perimeter one-on-one, and that's a hard tackle. You know, as I said, he can run over you, but he can also put his foot in the ground and make you miss and make you look pretty silly, as he did right there with Cedric Griffin.
Now Marion Barber over the right side to the 35, a gain of 4. Brinkley on the tackle. Vikings lost their middle linebacker E.J. Henderson to a broken leg on December 6th. E.J. was hurt last year as well and wasn't a part of the Vikings playoff loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. So here's Brinkley, a 5th-round pick out of South Carolina, as Troy said, making his 5th consecutive start. Ball comes out. Miles Austin can't get on top of it. And the Dallas Cowboys maintain possession as Romo eventually gets back to the football. It's 3rd down.
Looks like Pat Williams in there at nose tackle might have been the one who got a hand on it and knocked it out as Romo was trying to come out from center. Big Pat Williams right here in the middle. It's a hard block right there for right guard Leonard Davis. And Pat Williams is able to get in there and disrupt the exchange, and a collision there with left guard Kyle Kozar.
3rd and 9. quick throw. It's tipped by Witten, caught by Austin, and Austin will be about a yard short of a first down.
Well, Joe, the guy who ultimately caught it, Miles Austin, that's who it was intended for, and Jason Witten was in the same area. He thought he was the intended receiver. You see him get his arm and hand out on the ball, and initially it looked like it might have been an interception, but Miles Austin is the guy who goes up and makes the play.
And instead of going for it on 4th and 1, the decision is to try a 48-yard field goal. Sean Sweezum. And Sweezum missed it. So the Cowboys have moved it. Both times they've had it. They turned it over on a Romo fumble and now miss a 48-yard try from Sweezum. Still no score in Minnesota.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the all-new 2010 Lexus GX. Live life heroically. By Warner Brothers Pictures' Edge of Darkness, starring Mel Gibson, in theaters everywhere January 29th. And by Walmart. Save money, live better, Walmart.
Look at the ball control. Total yards. Vikings went 3 and out first time they had it as Brett Favre makes his 23rd career postseason start. And he hands to Adrian Peterson, and Peterson takes it to the 40, a 1-yard run. Back to that fumble during the last possession by Dallas.
Yeah, here's what happens. Andre Gerard, he's blocking this way, and so when you've got a center moving one way and a quarterback moving the opposite way, oftentimes the snap comes up short. It wasn't Pat Williams. Romo just never got a handle on the ball. And so as he's trying to pull out to make the handoff, and then you've got Gerard working opposite, the quarterback really has to hang in there an extra tick in order to make sure he's got the ball secured.
Blitz from Dallas. Favre throws quick, hits Sidney Rice, who leans and appears to have enough for a first down. We're going to give you our lineups after Walt Anderson calls for a measurement. One official put it down, the next official moved it back a couple of inches, and we'll see if indeed it's enough for a fresh set. It was that last lunge by Sidney Rice that made it even close. First down, Vikings. Here's a look at their lineups. You know Brett Favre, you know Adrian Peterson, who this year became the 3rd player in NFL history to rush for 1,300 plus yards and 10 plus touchdowns. 3 straight seasons. Earl Campbell, Barry Sanders, the other 2. Then you look at this offensive line, the huge tackles, and they will have their hands full with the outside pass rush of the Dallas Cowboys.
And Brett Favre went up to Bryant McKinney this week and told him he believed in him. Thought he'd do a good job for him in this ball game.
Peterson, with his hardest run of the game, picks up 4. Brady James on the tackle. The defense for the Dallas Cowboys has been on a great roll. They've allowed an average of less than 8 points per game over their last 4 during this winning streak, and it's a secondary that's highlighted by the play of Mike Jenkins, the second-year starting right corner.
Well, they can play a lot of ways. I mean, they're able to get so much pressure with their front 4, they don't have to bring extra people.
Favre lets it go downfield. Pass caught. Touchdown, Rice. So after coming up empty on 2 possessions, the Dallas Cowboys watch Brett Favre go 47 yards to Sidney Rice. What a year it's been for number 18 and for number 4. 7-0 Vikings. The second best receiver in NFL history named Rice. Good for 47 yards down the sideline, and he was actually well covered, but a perfect throw from Brett Favre. There's Rice, the bottom line, 2 catches on the drive, and 7-0 Vikings. Ogletree from the 1. Ogletree got around Griffin and returned it 17 yards.
The Cowboys are in cover too. Gerald Sensabaugh, he gets caught trying to disguise coverage. He's up closer to the line of scrimmage even than corner Terrence Newman. I'm not sure what he was doing because he doesn't get it jammed on Rice whatsoever, and then it's just one-on-one, a foot race, and a perfect throw by Brett Favre. Good catch there by Sidney Rice. Favre takes some punishment at the end of the play. They want to limit the hits on Brett Favre early in this game, but I don't think you mind him too much when you score a touchdown like that.
Beautiful one-handed grab by Sidney Rice for the first points. If this crowd was loud before, they're louder now. Here's Witten wide open. And Jason Witten, who led this Cowboy team with 94 catches during the regular season, gets 14 yards.
Well, that's the area of the field that I know Dallas wants to try to take advantage of, with the linebackers. I like the linebackers that Minnesota has. Jasper Brinkley, as I said, he's young, but if you look at the other 2, Chad Greenway and Ben Lieber, those 2 are athletic guys, and I think they give them a pretty good chance of being able to bang a little on Jason Witten.
First time the Cowboys have trailed since that San Diego Chargers game, and here's Barber. Looks like the knee's okay as he fights his way for 6. Cedric Griffin on the tackle.
Well, you talked about last week in the game that Felix Jones had, and a lot of people then think, well, maybe we should get the ball more to Felix Jones and let him run off some big runs. But there is a role for Marion Barber, and what he brings to this offense is a real physicalness, and they lose a little bit of that when he's not in the game. So they still want to get Marion Barber his carries, and they definitely then want to make sure Felix Jones is getting his touches as well.
Second down and 4. 4-man rush, and Martellus Bennett makes the catch and has a Cowboy first down. Pat Williams, who's the 13-year nose tackle for this Minnesota Vikings defense, missed a game, the Chicago game, with a right elbow injury. He came into this game wearing a brace. Before that last play, he ripped it off his arm and threw it to the sideline. He's dealing with Gerard and Leonard Davis and Kyle Kozar, the 2 guards. On first down, Romo throws it low and it's incomplete. That play was never there for Bennett. Well covered by the Vikings defensively. 2nd and 10.
One of the things that's interesting right now, Joe, for Minnesota defensively, and talking with Leslie Frazier on Friday, of course, as I say that, here comes Antoine Winfield now in order to match up with the personnel. But we thought that he was going to be playing in their base package as an outside corner. Instead, they've stuck with Benny Sapp, and they're just using Antoine now primarily then as the nickel guy. Right now, he's covering the 3rd wide receiver on the slot.
Handoff is to Barber. Winfield gets caught up in traffic. What a good play made by Sapp. A gain of only 1, and there was more room out there, but Sapp made the play.
Good job by Benny Sapp, because you're right, normally that would be where Antoine Winfield is, but he got sucked inside, and then Benny Sapp has to then get off the block of Roy Williams and make a tackle against a guy that's awfully difficult to get to the ground.
Under 1.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. 3rd down, Dallas. Romo over the middle, hits Witten, and Jason Witten fights for a first down for the Cowboys. Pressure by Ray Edwards as Romo got rid of it for 12 yards and a first down.
And these are some of the things that Tony Romo does so well. He feels pressure on his backside. He's able to slide just enough in order to deliver the football to Jason Witten. Jason Witten, when he catches this ball, he's short of the first down. And I think one of the real keys for Minnesota defensively throughout this ball game is being able to make the tackle on these Cowboys receivers as soon as they catch the ball. Dallas leads the NFL in yards after catch.
Handoff to Felix Jones. Felix Jones over the left side gets 5. Cowboys have had the football 3 times, and all 3 times they've taken it into Viking territory. It's been an impressive start statistically, but no points. And that could be the end of the first quarter. That will be. A 7-0 Minnesota Viking lead after 1, thanks to a 47-yard pass from Brett Favre to Sidney Rice. Second quarter coming up. Brett Favre now watching his defense try and figure out a way to slow down the Dallas attack. Cowboys have outgained the Vikings 118 yards to 55. But Romo's fumbled twice, lost one of them, and the Cowboys have missed a field goal. 2nd and 5. Romo throws, and that's Austin. He's got a first down at the 26. 12 yards on the catch, and how about that matchup of Allen and Adams?
Well, that's going to be the real key, you know, as to whether or not Flozell Adams can hold up on the outside against Jared Allen, and he wins that battle. You see, it's Kevin Williams, or actually Jimmy Kennedy is the one who came inside and was able to get the hit then on Romo. You know, you talk about Dallas and the way they've been able to move the ball. You're right. I mean, the fumble, which they lost, and then the other fumble from the center exchange, that in essence killed that drive.
Good protection for Romo, and he throws for Bennett. And Martellus Bennett, who has been really not a factor this season when there were so many expectations for him coming in, is good for 16 yards, and he has 3 catches.
Well, so much expected of Martellus coming into the year, and yet in the regular season he only had 15 catches. And you know, if all of a sudden this guy catches some fire and becomes an integral part of what they're doing in the offense, you know, you add another weapon to what they already have. I mean, he could put a lot of pressure on these defenses. Right now he's running through those zones wide open.
Razorback formation with Tashard Choice about to get the snap, and they fake the handoff. Choice goes forward and picks up a yard, takes it down to about the 8. 2nd and goal.
Little different look for Dallas though this time. Here's Mark Colombo, the right tackle. Normally when they go into their wildcat, they run him to the left side and put 2 big offensive linemen to the left. A different wrinkle. Part of the reason why Dallas runs that wildcat is just to try to get a look as to how the defense is going to play it. If they like the look, they'll come back to it.
Second and goal for Romo, who's in trouble. There's Edwards again, and he had Kevin Williams with him. A loss of 7.
Well, Ray Edwards has come to play. The challenge that Leslie Frazier gave him during the week, he's answering it, because he used a speed rush right here on Mark Colombo and just is able to get around the corner. And it looked initially like Romo was going to be able to escape that pressure, but then he got help from the backside.
Second sack for Ray Edwards. 3rd and goal from the 15. Romo floats it, no one there. And it's 4th down with the Cowboys trailing by 7.
Well, inside pressure, you're going to see it right here with Kevin and Pat Williams, and You're going to see what happens. Then Tony Romo has to duck right at the last second. He senses the pressure there from Kevin Williams. Cannot hold on to the ball any longer in order to find an open guy.
Nick Folk started the season as the Cowboys kicker. He missed 10. They got rid of him, brought in Sweezum. 33-yard try. And Sweezum drills it. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Cowboys are on the scoreboard. It's 7-3 Vikings with 12-11 left in the first half. We ask you to please join Fox Sports and the NFL to help the people of Haiti recover from that devastating earthquake that hit their country. You can make a $10 donation to the Red Cross relief efforts. Please text the word Haiti to 90999. A $10 donation will be added to your phone bill. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. 7.0 earthquake just 6 miles beneath the surface of the earth and just ripping apart that country as Beeler hits it. Led the league this year as a rookie in touchbacks, and he adds another one to his season. Vikings, Cowboys, 7-3 Minnesota. Early second quarter.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Miller Lite. Triple hops brewed for that great Pilsner taste. Taste greatness. By Visa. Visa debit is easier than cash. More people go with Visa. And by Autotrader.com. You'll find the car you want at the price you want at Autotrader.com.
Vikings have it up 7-3. Flozell Adams shaken up on that last possession for Dallas, down to Pam Oliver.
Yeah, and he really had to lumber to get off the field, Joe. The trouble is he's got a right calf injury, which the team trainers just retaped. No word yet officially on if he's coming back, but he's still getting medical attention. Back to you.
All right. Well, obviously a focus as he's had to deal with Jared Allen, number 2 in the NFL with his 14.5 sacks. Favre fresh off the touchdown pass, dumps it off underneath the Klein saucer. Brought down by Brooking after a gain of 14 yards.
Well, awfully good protection that time for Favre, which allowed him then to step up, in the pocket. And I know as we move through this game, of course they want to protect Brett Favre. They want to minimize the hits that he takes throughout this ball game. And one of the real keys then is trying to neutralize Dallas's all-pro nose tackle Jay Ratliff. If they can neutralize him, then at least Favre has a spot to step up in the pocket as he had there.
Handoff. Adrian Peterson. They try and rip the ball out. Peterson fumbled 7 times this season. Spencer made the tackle. Brett Favre in his career in the playoffs against the Cowboys 0-3. Losing 3 straight years. 1993 divisional playoff, 94 divisional playoff, 95 championship game as the Cowboys won 38-27. And Mike Holmgren, you saw him, was front and center for that run.
But I think even going back to the 2007 game when Brett was with Green Bay, he really struggled in that one prior to being hurt. And that's why I think there's just some teams that quarterbacks don't feel good about.
Here's Harvin who gets it. First time he's touched the football today. Brooking on the tackle, a gain of 3. And so 3rd down and short coming up. For Brett Favre, he's coming off a season which for the 6th time he threw for over 4,000 yards, a career best quarterback rating at over 107, number 2 in the NFL in touchdowns, a career low with 7 interceptions, career best 68% completion rate at the age of 40.
Well, and that's why he said that he's given all he has, and he's not real sure that he could have given him any more than he did.
And penalty flag comes flying. Pass is caught by Peterson. Big gain. Peterson to the 41. They'll mark him at the 40. 19 yards to Adrian Peterson.
And that's what you're able to do when you're playing at home. Brett Favre is able to use snap count to his advantage against a defensive team that likes to bring pressure.
It's a first down.
So much of the emphasis this week was going to be how Dallas's offensive line handled crowd noise and the silent count against Minnesota's defensive front. But I think it's every bit as beneficial for this Vikings offensive line to do what we just saw. Use snap count as a weapon.
Favre throws, and the pass broken up. Jenkins was there, and he got a hand in front of Berrien. No flag.
Well, that looked pretty close from here. Bernard Berrien trying to run the slant. Mike Jenkins is playing inside. He's anticipating the slant there as he clues in on Brett Favre. There was contact there. Mike Jenkins has had himself a heck of a year. You know, last year he struggled. He was a rookie. He came in this year. He fought for the job. He ultimately earned it. And he's been outstanding. And one of the greatest qualities he has is that he's got great confidence and he's not afraid to get beat.
On 2nd and 10, here's Chester Taylor over the left side. Nice run. Taylor gets 4, brought down by Sensabaugh. Chester Taylor was brought here in 06, had a 1,200-yard year running the football, and then in 2007 Adrian Peterson was drafted, and he has taken over the position here in Minnesota and is regarded, along with Chris Johnson, as probably the top 2 backs in the NFL.
Well, Chester Taylor is one of those guys that you just can't have enough of them on your team. I mean, in a lot of ways, he really kind of makes this offense because he's so versatile and they can do a lot of things with him. He's outstanding in third downs, pass protection, and as a receiver.
Favre throws as he backpedals, and he hits his receiver for a first down. Taylor. Chester Taylor led the NFL running backs in third down receptions, and he gets one here for 9.
Well, they have Chester Taylor offset, and then he comes across the formation, and that's where Brett Favre was going with the throw the entire way. It's their version of one of their screens. You know, they still get an offensive lineman out in front. Right guard Anthony Herrera leading the way. But a well-designed play against a fast defensive unit that overflows.
And a good drive being put together by Brett Favre and the Vikings. Favre backpedals, flips it for Berrien. Catch is made, but out of bounds. Mike Jenkins was there. Berrien made the catch, but could not get both feet in.
You know, Bernard Berrien, watch him as he runs this flat route first. He sells it right there when he looks back at the quarterback. If he had been able to squeeze Jenkins just a little bit, he probably gives Favre a little more room to put that ball. A well-thrown ball. You see his left foot is in, right foot comes out. That's the shot when you get down here. Dallas is very difficult to score against. Oftentimes you're better off trying to score further out than once you get in closer to the goal line.
On 2nd down, handoff to Peterson, some room for him. And Adrian Peterson is knocked down after an 11-yard run by Ken Hamlin.
Well, Anthony Herrera does a good job with the seal. You're going to see him here seal off, but then watch Hutchinson, the left guard. He's uncovered, so he's able to get a free release up the field. And then you've got Adrian Peterson just working off of those blocks into the secondary.
No team during the regular season scored more red zone touchdowns than the Vikings. They're number 3 in the NFL in touchdown percentage in this area. On 1st down, Favre fakes the handoff. Ducks under pressure, hits Rice, who's got his 2nd.
Well, Sidney Rice comes in motion, and he's going to act as if he's blocking. You're going to see him down here, and then he goes to the ground. They turn him then loose. Favre, after avoiding pressure, is able to find Sidney Rice, but the sell job by Rice is what allowed him to be so open there in the middle of the field.
He's starting to look like the other Rice, with 2 touchdowns in this first half. Brett Favre is 41st in his career during the playoffs, and the Vikings lead by 11. You can talk about the Favre effect here with the Vikings. Certainly for the franchise's drive to get a new stadium, that ongoing attempt. Certainly for the contract drive of Brad Childress. He's been locked up to a new long-term deal. On the field, that Favre effect. Here's a throwback to Kevin Ogletree that does nothing. The Favre effect on Sidney Rice has been fantastic. A late penalty flag comes in at the end of that return as you look at the second of 2 touchdowns to Sidney Rice, who had 46 catches in 2 years with the Vikings. This year 83.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 33 of the kicking team, taunting. That's a 15-yard penalty. It'll be first down. Timeout.
That's the rookie Jamarcus Sanford. 15 yards tacked on as the Cowboys tried a throwback to Kevin Ogletree. The taunting, the call, 15 yards Dallas's way as they trail by 11.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the GMC Sierra, the official vehicle of the NFL.
The big news for the Dallas Cowboys, Flozell Adams, a 5-time Pro Bowler and starting left tackle, is out. Injured on the sideline, and Doug Free takes over at left tackle. Delayed handoff, and it's Felix Jones brought down in the backfield by Jared Allen. The winner of this game will move on to take on number 1 seed New Orleans next Sunday in the late window. Would be the Cowboys or the Vikings. The Saints so impressive in their win yesterday over the Arizona Cardinals.
Congratulations to both the Colts and the Saints. Interesting, the first time since '04 that both number 1 seeds from the AFC and the NFC advance to the championship game.
Second down and 11. They fake the handoff, and Jared Allen gets to Romo. Ball comes out. Jared Allen made the play, and the Vikings have the football. Lieber gets the recovery.
Well, they tried to give Doug Free, who's in for Flozell Adams, help here with Jason Witten. Witten winds up being the guy who's got to try to handle Jared Allen all by himself. It is hard to hear on the outside. Witten gets out of his stance late. With the speed of Jared Allen, he comes in on Romo, and Romo didn't know he was there.
Tony Romo had no fumbles over his last 8 games. He has 3 today. And Jared Allen, the all-pro defensive end, is there to force the turnover. Had 14.5 sacks last year after the trade from Kansas City. Had 14.5 this year. And he makes a play to set up Brett Favre at the Dallas 20. Handoff to Peterson, and Adrian Peterson gets 3. Jay Ratliff on the tackle, back to the fumble.
Well, we talked about it coming in, how this front 4 was going to have to be able to dictate the game, and they've done that here throughout this first half. Tony Romo expecting him to get good protection on the backside, especially because they put the tight end there, but because of formationing there defensively by Minnesota, they were able to isolate Jared Allen on Jason Witten without any help then from Doug Free, the left tackle.
Second down and 7. Berrien makes the catch. Made the move on Newman. Berrien goes down out of bounds. No flag. A gain of 11.
Talked a little bit about Bernard Berrien. He's really been the forgotten guy for this Minnesota offense this year, considering that last year he led the team in receiving yards and big plays down the field. You know, Sidney Rice, as you said, he's been the one who's taken over that spot, but he's been a real pro. And from time to time, when he has been healthy, we've seen him make some real contributions for this offense.
Handoff is to Peterson. Peterson tried to fight his way back to the line of scrimmage. Spencer made the play, 2nd and goal. The Dallas defense during the regular season, number 23 in opponent's touchdown percentage. They're trying to stiffen up and keep the Vikings out of the end zone. So far, it's been 2 touchdowns. One on a long throw to Sidney Rice, 47 yards, then a 16-yarder. And after early success moving the football, the Dallas Cowboys are down by 11 and in trouble here. Favre hits Taylor, and the ball is out, incomplete. Good play by Brooking. He was there to make the stop had Taylor held on. It's 3rd and goal.
Man coverage there defensively by Dallas, and so you've got Keith Brooking who's locked up, and he runs right then with Chester Taylor and is there to make the play. And you talk about defensively how Dallas has been so good at keeping people out of the end zone and not giving up a lot of points. One of the reasons for that has been their offense and their ability to protect the football. They haven't protected it as well here today, and that's why we're seeing Minnesota being able to put some of the points up that they have here in this first half.
It's 3rd down and goal. A blitz, a quick throw, penalty flag on the play. Harvin doesn't get in, but the play never happened. It's a delay of game.
Before the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That'll back it up outside the 10.
Pretty good design there, but obviously a very important defensive stand here for Dallas. If they can keep Minnesota to a field goal, I think that they feel, certainly good about that, but then they give the ball back to their offense and see what they can do prior to the end of the half. Dallas has been good in those situations. A touchdown here, and now you're looking at a 3-possession ball game with an entire second half then left to play.
On 3rd down and goal, Favre throws, hits Chester Taylor, and there's nowhere to go. Taylor initially hit by DeMarcus Ware, a gain of 7, and now it's 4th down. And the Dallas defense does hold and at least keep the Minnesota Vikings out of the end zone, but the Vikings here can go up by 14 points.
Yeah, that's a good job. It's a good job by Dallas's defense, getting backed up after the turnover and not giving up 7 points.
24-yard try by Ryan Longwell, who had a great year. Number 3 in the NFL in points and only missed twice. It's a 14-point game, 17-3. Tony Romo took the hit, coughed it up for the 3rd time today. The Vikings turn it into 3 points. Romo trying to get his team going as they trail by 2 touchdowns. 3 minutes 46 seconds left in the half, each side with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Longwell will kick it away. Kevin Ogletree is waiting deep. The Cowboys defensively had allowed 14 points in the last 3 games. 35 possessions. The Minnesota Vikings and Brett Favre have put up 17 points in 4 possessions here in the first half today and lead 17-3. Line drive kick. Takes a bounce for Ogletree, a couple of bounces, and Kevin Ogletree crosses the 20 and not much. Out to the 22, down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, the Dallas offensive line got some animated words from Tony Romo, who wants that group to pick it up. Meantime, lineman Doug Free and tight end Jason Witten got technique tips from Flozell Adams, as they will be responsible for trying to keep Jared Allen off of their quarterback. Back to you.
All right, Pam. Doug Free, who made 7 consecutive starts at right tackle for the injured Mark Colombo, now is at left tackle and having to deal with number 69 for the Minnesota Vikings. Start with a run to Barber. Puts his head down, takes it to the 25, a gain of 3. Ben Lieber on the tackle for Minnesota.
Pretty tough duty there for Doug Free. You said, he came in for Mark Colombo. He played right tackle, did a nice job. When you talk to these offensive coaches for the Cowboys and you ask them what's the future for Doug Free, they really like him. He's a very athletic guy. In fact, they will tell you that he has left tackle feet, meaning basically he's a very athletic individual. But he's got his hands full if he's going to be in for the rest of this ball game on the left side.
2nd down and 7. Romo's in trouble again. Spins out and hits Witten, who has enough for a Dallas 1st down. So chased was Tony Romo, and then connecting with Witten for 9 in a 1st down with under 3 to play.
Well, there's pressure inside, and then he had Ray Edwards coming off the back. You're going to see the move right here in the middle. So Romo's not able then to step up, but because of Ray Edwards on the backside, he's flushed. He had Witten a little bit earlier. He just elected to hold off on it and then came back and found him late.
Ray Edwards, who has 3 tackles and 2 sacks, has been working over Colombo at right tackle. Delayed handoff. Barber, nothing there. Jimmy Kennedy made the play after Jared Allen first got his hands on him. A loss of 1.
Well, that group inside right now, Joe, is really taking it to the interior offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether that has been Jimmy Kennedy or Kevin Williams or Pat Williams, they're moving the line of scrimmage. They're doing a good job in run defense, but they're also getting pressure in the middle and pass defense.
Second and 11, a blitz, and Witten somehow hangs on to that pass from Romo. Everybody was coming on a blitz, and Witten's good for 8 yards as we hit the 2-minute warning here in Minnesota. 3 timeouts remaining for Dallas. 2 minutes left as they trail by 14. Third down and 3 with 2 minutes left in the half. Dallas Cowboys suffering an injury. I'm sure coming into this game would have been last on their list. Losing Flozell Adams, who has to deal with Jared Allen, a menacing defensive end for Minnesota. Big third down. On 3rd and 3, pass incomplete through the hands of Austin. Vikings jumped defensively. Gerard didn't snap it. Cowboys had a chance to get a first down by penalty on a defensive offside, but did not take advantage.
And the reason you're going to see Andre Gerard, the center, is looking between his legs when Ray Edwards jumps. He's trying to sort out the defense that has no idea that Ray Edwards had jumped offsides. If that was at home, then Gerard snaps it and they get the free play.
So on 4th down, McBriar punts it. He's had a very good year, and Darius Raynaud with a fair catch inside the 10 at the 8. So now Brett Favre has 1:51 and all 3 of his timeouts to try and do something to the scoreboard as the Vikings lead 17-3. Thanks in large part to the play of number 4 and number 18.
Yeah, Favre keeping the play alive, but Sidney Rice motioning down, and then he goes to block DeMarcus Ware, but gets up, and once he went to the ground, then everybody turns him loose. And I don't know initially if he was going to be a part of that route, but once he got up off the ground and recognized that Favre was trying to find an open receiver, he kept the play alive and made a heck of a play.
Starting at their 8, they start with a run, and Spencer makes the play on Peterson. And we talked to Brett Favre earlier in the year, and now Dallas will think about taking timeouts. And they take their first. Brett Favre, who is the oldest quarterback to start a postseason game by doing so here today. Older than Johnny Unitas, 1971 against the Dolphins, 38 years old, 240 days. Fran Tarkenton, 78 against the Rams, 38 years, 331 days. Phil Simms, 1993 against the 49ers, was 39 years old. Brett Favre has turned 40, did so this year, and heck, 4th on that list would have been Kurt Warner, who had a rough afternoon yesterday in the Superdome.
Yeah, he's the one who's kind of gone unnoticed as far as how well he has played at his age.
He's 38. Peterson over the left side to the line of scrimmage. Another timeout by Dallas, and they have thoughts of getting the ball back and making something happen before the half, when we will give you the Visa halftime report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will have highlights and analysis from this game, and we'll look ahead to all of the second half action. Started to say, Troy, that when we met with Brett Favre earlier in the year, he said, I never could have imagined it would be this good, even with the talent in place and the expectations. And it has been that good, and he has made Sidney Rice that much better, and Percy Harvin, the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. And then you have Peterson carrying it, and Schenko, the tight end, with 11 touchdowns, and Berrien. They have a lot of weapons, a good offensive line. Rick Spielman, the GM, has done a great job of putting the talent together here with the Vikings. On 3rd and 10. Handoff underneath, and a first down carry by Chester Taylor. 14 yards and a first down to keep the football for Minnesota.
The Cowboys uncover John Sullivan, and so the center, and he's able to get up and put a pretty good block and free him up. But Dallas in a good position right there to stop him and get the ball back here before the half. A key first down for Minnesota.
Blitz coming from the Cowboys, and Favre goes down. Spencer is in there along with Carpenter. And a sack with just over a minute to go, and now looking more and more like our halftime score will be 17-3. Dallas has only one timeout remaining, and Favre and the Vikings are willing to let the clock run down.
Yeah, and you know, if something had happened on that play, then I think they're off and running. You know, Joe, you mentioned Rick Spielman and the job that he has done, you know, with some of these draft picks. You know, how about the key free agents that they've picked up, you know, while he's been here? Steve Hutchinson, of course, Brett Favre, Jared Allen.
2nd down and 14. Favre throws across the field, and that pass was bobbled and incomplete to Percy Harvin. He trapped it, and it's incomplete with 27 seconds left. And now, because of that throw, which is an odd call, the clock stops, and if Dallas, Troy, can get a stop here, you see that ball come out. If Dallas could get a stop here, well, then they can use their timeout and at least get the football back.
Yeah, and I can tell you that the defense, the Minnesota defense, is not happy about that. I mean, the last thing that they want to have to do is go back out onto the field here before the half. I was with you, Joe. Once they didn't get anything there on first down, I thought they would just run out the clock and be happy with a 14-point lead at half.
Now Kleinsasser moves early.
Number 40, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So that'll back it up, and you know, I mean, because of that throw, now you're Minnesota, you likely run it on 3rd and 19, make Dallas use their final timeout, but because of where they are on the field, Dallas will have a chance to make a couple of plays and at least get into field goal range. I don't get that 2nd down play at all.
No, I think it was a mistake, and it's interesting to me watching games each and every week how oftentimes coaches mismanage the clock at the end of each half.
Here's your handoff. There's Chester Taylor, and Dallas will spend its final timeout with 23 seconds left as Stephen Bowen made that last tackle. And so a punt is coming from the Minnesota Vikings, and we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. And well, here's what we've seen in the first half. We saw Dallas able to move the ball early their first 2 possessions. Romo's fumbled 3 times. They missed a field goal. But on the other side, the Vikings offense, Troy, is heating up, and they're showing the world again how good they are offensively.
Yeah, we've seen Minnesota both offensively and defensively gain confidence, while Dallas on both sides of the ball has lost confidence as this first half has unfolded. And that's why the decision to throw there on 2nd down is critical, because Dallas, if they are able to come away with any kind of points here before the end of the half, that would be a real momentum shift.
And now a muff punt. Creighton gets back on top of it. The Vikings needed a good punt, and they got one of 51 yards from Kluwe. And now only 13 seconds remain. So once there's nothing on that return, the ball is back inside the Dallas 40. And they would be hard pressed to make something happen here to get into field goal range, as Creighton is thinking about a missed opportunity. So you know, Sweezum, his career long is 52 yards, which came back in 2006 with the Redskins, which means getting it to the 34-yard line of the Vikings. It's a lot of ground to cover with no timeouts. 13 seconds left. Romo throws. Creighton can't make a one-handed catch, and now 9 seconds remain. So barring the unexpected, a 17-3 Vikings lead after a half to play. There's Sweezum, who missed from 48 yards early. And then Favre and Sidney Rice, the offensive line, took over. Vikings will start the second half with the football. Romo throws underneath. Witten hops out. Now 4 seconds are left. And there's time for a heave down the field. No time to do anything else.
Yeah, they might have gotten themselves in a position to where from this point at midfield that Romo has enough arm to get it all the way into the end zone. But other than that, you know, I can't imagine with 4 seconds that they can get a play off and try to pick up a few more yards prior to making that shot down the field.
That's why it was an important 51-yard punt by Kluwe.
Of course, you don't want to say Hail Mary around these parts.
Staubach and Pearson in 75. Romo buying time, going backward, and just sliding at the 30. And that's a half of play with the Vikings and the Cowboys. The fresh legs, the number 2 seed, the well-rested Vikings suffered a couple of shots across the bow early as the Cowboys moved it, but then the defense did what this defense does, especially that defensive line. Vikings lead by 14 at the half. Visa halftime coming up.
We're at home. We don't lose at home. We're ready. Yeah. One mission, one result. Let's go.
Well, what's in store for us in the second half? From Mall of America Field at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, we look at the Burger King first half stats. Total yards about even. 2 turnovers for Dallas. 4 Cowboy fumbles today. 2 of them lost. 4 sacks allowed by the Cowboys. 3 of them credited to Ray Edwards, who has stepped up to that challenge he got from his defensive coordinator. Time of possession still favors the Dallas Cowboys. Minnesota will start the second half with the football.
You know, Dallas came out in the first quarter and actually did a pretty good job, but the turnovers are what hurt them. And then the second quarter, it was all Minnesota. I mean, you look at what Dallas has done defensively. They've done a nice job against Adrian Peterson. That was the real key coming into this ball game. What they have not done is protect the football, and they haven't protected Tony Romo. And the guys up front, you mentioned it, Ray Edwards, Jared Allen, the big guys inside, Pat and Kevin Williams. Those guys have done their part.
Percy Harvin is a Pro Bowl kick returner as a rookie. Before in the NFL, averaging 27.5 yards per kick return, but Beeler usually puts it through the back of the end zone. And this time is no different. Vikings will start at the 20, and we go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, some very concerned looking Cowboys trudged into the locker room. I asked Wade Phillips what he needs from every single player this half. He gave me a standard answer: we'll be all right. I asked about Tony Romo, the fact that he is running for his life. He said, well, at least we're doing the same thing to them. Flozell Adams, meantime, he got reevaluated at halftime to see if he could come back from that calf injury. So far, it's not looking very good. Back to you.
All right, Pam. And the Vikings, who led the league during the regular season with 48 sacks, have stepped up with 4 today. Now number 4, Brett Favre, takes over at the 20.
158. 158.
And a handoff, a delayed handoff, is to Adrian Peterson. Wrestled down with a gain of 7 by Anthony Spencer. Here's Chris Myers.
Joe, Benny Sapp, the corner, the last one out of the Viking locker room, talking with one of the coaches. He expects Tony Romo, as the Vikings do, to come out throwing here in the second half. Brad Childress said we'll run the ball a lot more effectively. Other than the initial series where DeMarcus Ware sacked Brett Favre, we've made some adjustments. I don't think he's called DeMarcus Ware name since, and he thinks they're going to be able to run the ball and put this game away.
All right, Chris, second down and 3.
Go! 390! 390, son!
Another run. Again, it's Peterson, and in the backfield he is brought down. No gain as he just got back to the line of scrimmage. Gerald Sensabaugh, the strong safety, was up and in the middle of it for the Cowboys.
Well, you know, that is going to be one of the keys for Dallas, because with Minnesota holding on to a lead, as I said, they did a good job against Adrian Peterson there in the first half, just 32 yards. But as this game unfolds with a lead, they're going to be able to hand it to him more often. Now, where Minnesota has been good here has been on third downs. Dallas has been excellent during this 5-game win streak, but Minnesota has converted half of them in the first half of this game.
And penalty flags again. Movement. They blow it dead. Favre gets a shot from Brady James. It was complete on the back end, but they blew the play dead, and there was movement on each side.
Well, everybody lets up on the offensive line because of the whistle, and Brady James just keeps on coming. You know, that's when the referee has got to step in there and make sure everybody understands that.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 12, offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
I'm sure Walt Anderson's response to you, Troy, would be you step in there in front of Brady James and let him know the play's over, as Percy Harvin gets the false start. Let's listen to the whistle.
Hold on.
Favre, I don't know how he keeps popping up from the hits that he gets during the course of the season, or just that one from Brady James. He got right back up, and it's 3rd and 8.
Yeah, a lot of things are easier to do from up here at 50 feet, Joe.
Blitz coming from Dallas right up the middle. James misses. The pass is broken up as Skandrick and Harvin came together. It's 4th down. And so a 3-and-out forced by the Dallas defense to start the second half.
Favre pretty hot about not getting a call on that one. They brought Brady James again inside. Percy Harvin looked to be held, you know, on the outside by Orlando Skandrick, and sure enough, as Harvin's trying to run the dig route, the shallow crossing route, Skandrick had a pretty good hold on him past the 5 yards.
Yeah, that should have been a hold and an automatic first down, as it was. Incomplete 4th down on the punt. Creighton, who fumbled in the first half, has nowhere to go. Penalty flag is down back at the 23-yard line. Ineligible downfield against the Vikings.
An eligible player of the kicking team downfield, number 55. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. We'll replay 4th down.
So the Cowboys want the Vikings to re-kick. Onatolu is guilty of being downfield, and here's that call, or no call, on Percy Harvin.
And Childress, I mean, he saw it the entire way as well, and you know why that wasn't called. Oftentimes you get into the postseason and these officials will let them bang a little bit. We saw it earlier with Mike Jenkins on the slant route, but that one there, it's one thing to let contact happen, but not when a guy's getting held trying to come out of a break.
So 2 minutes gone in the second half, and another punt from Kluwe. Both Newman and Creighton are back deep.
Special teams coaches always worry when you have to re-punt. A lot of times this is when you get the big returns. These guys who had just run 45-50 yards downfield having to do it all over again.
And now a penalty flag. They blow that play dead. It looks like a false start.
False start, number 39, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Meanwhile, just prior to that punt, Creighton and Newman, who were both back, Patrick Creighton took off and started to creep forward, and Terrence Newman, the former punt returner, was the one waiting deep for the punt from Kluwe. And now, because of the penalties, Kluwe will punt from his end zone. Gets it away. Newman with a fair catch, and he takes it in inside his own 43. And after all that, a 14-yard gain in field position for the Cowboys, down 14.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag, it's on. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Hyundai Assurance, a little certainty in uncertain times.
Dallas with good starting field position at their own 43. They turned the ball over twice in this game. They've turned it over only twice the last 7 games. Down by 14 points, and a handoff is to Felix Jones running left. He had big Leonard Davis in front of him, and he's all the way to the 40. The Pro Bowl guard was out there leading the charge, and a 17-yard run for Dallas.
And you're going to see at the end of this play, Felix Jones actually does a good job because he has it in the right arm on the left side running to his left, but Jasper Brinkley comes in right there at the end and is trying to take it out. You see there, immediately going for, actually comes in right here. He comes in right for the ball, but Felix Jones doing a good job of securing it.
Another run, Felix Jones right side. A 9-yard carry by Felix Jones. So that's 26 yards on 2 carries by Jones here in the second half.
Well, I think it's important for Dallas to get that running game going because in the first half, I mentioned what a good job Dallas's defense had done on Adrian Peterson, but Minnesota defensively had done a good job also really shutting down this Cowboys running attack.
Jones is at 5.8 yards per carry. On 2nd and 1, here's Barber. He's got a first down, and he's inside the 25. Chad Greenway on the tackle. 3 straight runs, and not one of them has been for less than 7 yards.
Well, they're doing some good combinations up front along that offensive line. Jason Witten that time making the key block, which allowed Barber then to pick up that first down. You're going to see Witten as he collapses right there as Winfield tries coming in. And Dallas, the one thing we do know about Jason Garrett, they get that running game going, he's going to stick with it.
They toss to Barber. To the right, and Ray Edwards, what a game. A loss of 7 to go with his 3 sacks.
Ray Edwards reads this beautifully. Remember in the first 3rd down by Dallas and they ran it to Jared Allen's side and he collapsed. Ray Edwards does not do that this time. He comes straight up the field. So, sometimes you get things going as an offense and they're getting that running game going, and because they had been running it inside, the belief then was that, hey, maybe we can take advantage of the defensive ends collapsing down. Ray does not. That's a significant loss and could really hurt this drive.
2nd and 17 now. Romo underneath. That's Bennett. Minimal gain on 2nd and 17 of just 3. Ben Lieber made the stop. And 3rd down and long coming up for this Dallas offense.
And that's kind of been what's happened here with this offense throughout this ball game. They've moved the ball and then they've had a negative play. They had the fumble by Tony Romo in the first half, which took them out of 3rd and medium to 3rd and long. That last play by Ray Edwards when this Cowboys offense was moving, now instead of being in manageable down and distance, they're once again in 3rd and long.
Extra men on the rush. Romo stays upright for a moment, and now Greenway brings him down. Five sacks for this Vikings defense.
Well, good design there by Minnesota. They're going to bring the pressure off the edge. Tony thinks he's going to have Martellus Bennett here, but you're going to see the linebacker work there, and so Romo cannot turn it loose. And by that time, you just can't hold the ball that long and expect to have protection in the pocket. Good job defensively. Good call, Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator. Well executed.
Now a 49-yard try by Sweezum. And Sweezum Missed it. They made the change. Cut Nick Folk. Added Sean Sweezum. He has missed 2 today. And the Vikings still lead by 14 points. Sean Sweezum in his 4th game with the Dallas Cowboys after they cut Nick Folk was 2 for 3 with Dallas during the regular season. Prior to that was with the Redskins. He's missed twice today. Left 6 points out there, and the pass is broken up by Mike Jenkins. Tony Romo is the holder. He took the snap, got it down, and then showed his frustration as the Cowboys now have 4 times been inside Viking territory and come up with 3 points.
And I can tell you how frustrating and upset you are as a quarterback when you're going up against a defense. It's hard to move the football against. You get in a position to come away with at least some kind of points, and you walk away with nothing.
Now on 2nd and 10, handoff is to Adrian Peterson, and a penalty flag thrown by the umpire in the area of a hold. A gain of 4, but this should be coming back.
Holding number 90 defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It was Ratliff who got out of that pile calling for a hold, and it's Ratliff who's right in the middle, called for a defensive hold.
You can see him right here in the middle. I really didn't see much. See if he grabs a hold of John Sullivan there in the center, which it looked like he might have. A lot of times these offensive or the defensive linemen will hold on to an offensive lineman to keep them from being able to get up to the 2nd level. Didn't get a real good look on that, but I didn't see the hold as much as I just saw a pretty good double team there by John Sullivan and right guard Anthony Herrera.
Yeah, I didn't see the hold either, and it's the first accepted penalty against the Dallas Cowboys, and Ratliff still shaking his head about that one. It brings the ball to the Minnesota 49. Here's an end around. Harvin gets away from one tackle. That was Spencer, and now in the open field takes it inside the 40. A 14-yard run, and Percy Harvin made that happen.
Well, we saw Ray Edwards make that play on the other end for Minnesota, and then you've got Spencer, who is in a great position. He just fails to make the tackle there, and then Keith Brooking trying to get there, he overruns it. That shows you some of the dynamic ability there of Percy Harvin. Those are the types of things he was doing back in Florida, and they've incorporated some of that here with Minnesota, but he's become a much better receiver than I anticipated at this stage of his career.
Handoff to Peterson, and Adrian Peterson picks up 2. Spencer on the tackle for Percy Harvin, and this is rookie year, over 2,000 combined yards. Over 1,100 returning kicks, 790 yards receiving, 135 yards rushing, and it was earlier in the year when Brad Childress told us the staff at Florida told the Vikings that Harvin, with all the things he did for the Gators, was their best running back.
Even though he wasn't a running back. Yeah, I mean, that you wonder what Florida might have been able to do if they put their best running back at running back.
2nd down and 8. And they blow this one dead. A false start against Minnesota.
False start, number 81, offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
It's the often overlooked tight end here, Vizanti Shenko. Guilty of the false start. This February, America's sport comes home as NASCAR goes back to its roots with racing like it's meant to be. And it all starts with a great American race. The 2010 season of NASCAR on Fox begins February 14th with the Daytona 500.
The one thing we don't have to worry about, Percy Harvin is not the best running back on this team.
No. He wears number 28. And that man had 18 rushing touchdowns this season. He bounces it outside. And he picks up 2.5. Keith Brooking on the tackle. And now Peterson and Ken Hamlin get up slap each other in the helmet and move on back to their respective huddles.
You know, a lot of conversation about the year that Adrian Peterson has had, and you know, he's put the ball on the ground, and we know that, and he's trying to clean that up. He's a very conscientious young man, and we all know what kind of runner he is. He's exceptionally tough and physical, and you know, the one thing that he hasn't had this year that he's had in previous years is the long runs. I mean, especially here over the second half of the season, just hasn't broken one off the way that he has typically week in and week out.
3rd down and 11. Vikings are out of field goal range at the moment. What a tackle by Skandrick as he came up and just took the legs out from under Sidney Rice. But that completion gets Minnesota into field goal range if they choose to go there. They can try a long field goal try of 53 yards or punt it. Ed Kluwe is out there to try and pin Dallas deep.
Yeah, I think this is the right decision too. Yeah, you'd like 3 more points, but you know, at the expense of not making it and then giving Dallas great field position once again. I just think Minnesota's defense is playing pretty good to where they can pin Dallas down deep.
That's up to Kluwe. It's a spiral, and it ends up hopping out of bounds at the 2. Good decision by Brad Childress. They pass on the 53-yard field goal try. Kluwe, a 33-yard perfect punt. Dallas has it down 14. A report from our eyes and ears on the Vikings sideline. Chris Kluwe came over and said it's the best 33-yard punt of his life as he knocked it out at the Dallas 2. Hard to argue. Here's Barber. A little breathing room. Greenway made the tackle, a gain of 2.
Right now, Dallas is focused on one thing, and that's just trying to pick up 1 first down and try to give their punter, Matt McBriar, as much room as they can if they can't go any further than that.
Jason Garrett, Troy, came in as a red-hot offensive coordinator with his play calling. Leslie Frazier has come up with some brilliant play calling of his own. The defensive coordinator of the Vikings. Romo throws and throws low for Witten. 3rd down. Frazier, to Troy, has interviewed 7 times for head coaching jobs over the last 3 years and is still on the list of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he's done a good job. In fact, Tony Dungy came out and said that had he have taken the executive position there in Seattle, he would have hired Leslie Frazier as his head coach, and he's done an outstanding job. I'll tell you, for Jason Garrett, the offensive coordinator for Dallas, it's hard to call plays when you're down here backed up like Dallas is right now.
Romo slides, throws. Austin is forced out, incomplete. Tyrell Johnson made the play, and there's no longer a force out rule in the NFL. Good work by number 25.
An excellent play there by Tyrell Johnson. You're right. I mean, had he not have been there to make the play, then Austin comes down with the ball. You see the attention that Jared Allen is getting there, and that's what allows Romo then to at least deliver the throw. But it all happened on the back end with Tyrell Johnson.
Ray Edwards slow to get up. We'll take a break. 4th down when we come back.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by State Farm. To us, nothing's more important than being there.
Ray Edwards in this game, with his stats, has driven back the Cowboys 34 yards with 3 sacks, 2 other tackles for loss. I mean, he has played a big game here against the Dallas Cowboys. He got up, jogged off the field, and they're looking at his right knee. Just got it away, and they throw a penalty flag. That's Heath Farwell, who came in and got a hand or a body on Matt McBriar. And if it's a 15-yard penalty, and now it looks like, Walt, Anderson is saying a 5-yard penalty. There's a huge difference. If it's a personal foul, it's an automatic first down. If it's just running into the kicker as opposed to roughing him, it's only 5 yards.
Running into the kicker, number 55, did not let the kicker get his kicking leg down on the ground. That penalty is declined. It'll be first down.
So running into the kicker, a 5-yard penalty, as opposed to roughing the kicker, which is 15 yards, and that usually involves a player going at the plant leg of the punter. In this case, it was the kicking leg, and it's no automatic first down. Vikings have it. Great field position inside Dallas territory as they lead by 14. Walt Anderson makes the announcement that after initially declining the penalty, the Vikings accept it, and they are going to make McBriar punt again. So with 5 yards more breathing room, as Kenny Anatolu, I had said Heath Farwell is a special teams Pro Bowler who made the hit on the kicking leg of McBriar. Instead of taking over at the Dallas 43, we'll see where the Vikings end up here with Raynaud watching it sail out of bounds. And we'll see where they mark it. But either way, that decision by the Vikings did not work out in their advantage. 46-yard punt. Let's go down to Chris Myers.
Joe, Ray Edwards, you mentioned his first career playoff game. He's playing in, wincing in pain after an inside right knee injury on that play that you showed moments ago. Team physician Joel Boyd, head trainer Eric Sugarman came on. They cut back part of his pant leg. They put on a flexible cast, and then they tried a different cast and wrapped it. And Ray Edwards said, I want to go back in. So at this point, they're going to see how he holds up, but that's the plan.
Ray Edwards, who is the only Vikings defensive line starter to not make a Pro Bowl in his career, has certainly played like a Pro Bowler here today. Play action from Favre down the middle, and the pass is behind Percy Harvin. Wide open, but Favre missed it.
Yeah, that's one of the few poor throws we've seen from Brett Favre, and he's disappointed because it was the easiest throw that he's had here today. I mean, he had great protection in the pocket because they ran it off of play action, and then Percy Harvin was just wide open in the middle of the field.
Go back to that penalty on the punt. Vikings initially declined it. Would have started at the Dallas 43. Instead, they start at their own 46.
No! We're 90! We're 97!
2nd and 10. Handoff is to Peterson, and he goes nowhere. Stephen Bowen and Marcus Spears in there defensively for Dallas. And it'll be 3rd and 10. It's 3rd down and 10. It's 3rd down and 10 for the Vikings. Four-man rush. Favre goes down. And it was Ratliff in there. The ball came out. No signal yet made by Walt Anderson. The Vikings, it appears, will keep.
Ball was loose. It's 4th down.
They'll keep the ball. It's 4th down, and Ratliff made the play on 3rd down.
Well, he's one-on-one right here on right guard Anthony Herrera, and he just goes right by him. I mean, you're hoping that you can get a little bit of help, but Herrera does not. And there's that inside pressure that we spoke of that Jay Ratliff has been so effective creating throughout this entire year.
So the punt team's on for the Vikings. To go back and clean up what I was saying earlier, it was the Cowboys, not the Vikings, who eventually changed their mind and accepted the penalty. It worked out as Kluwe gets rid of it, and a fair catch called for by Creighton. He lets it go over his head into the end zone, and Dallas, after that exchange, will now start at their own 20 with 2.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, down by 14. Again, we ask you to please join Fox Sports and the NFL to help the people of Haiti recover from that devastating earthquake that hit their country. To make a $10 donation to the Red Cross relief efforts, text the word Haiti to 90999. $10 donation will be added to your phone bill. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. Dallas with a football at their own 20, down by 14 points. Out of the backfield, Felix Jones. Wasn't much there, and he turned it into a 4-yard gain as Ben Lieber made the tackle for the Vikings.
You know, you look at the job that Minnesota has done defensively. They came into this game, the Dallas Cowboys did, with the second best offense in terms of creating plays of 20 yards or more. This defense has not given up a 20-yard play either on the ground or in the air. And that's really saying something, considering that guy right there, Antoine Winfield, in their base defense, has played very little. He's come in when the Cowboys have gone to 3 wide receivers.
2nd down and 6. Felix Jones, there's nowhere to go. Tyrell Johnson made the play on the last possession, and this good for a loss of 4.
Well, Big Pat Williams, he comes running it down from behind. You can see him come up in the middle, and then he stays on the move. Felix Jones trying to get to the outside, and Pat Williams, you wouldn't think that he could move quite like that, but the big man can run.
It's 3rd down and 10. Romo steps up, pulls it back, and throws an interception to Lieber.
Was all generated by the pass rush of the defense. Brian Robinson is going to come off the screen here, and he almost gets a hand on the ball there with Romo, and then Jimmy Kennedy jumps up and makes Romo double clutch it in the pocket, and then his timing was completely off and makes a poor decision for the interception.
Tony Romo, who has been protecting the football, has turned the ball over 3 times today. Ben Lieber was there for the interception. Lieber did not have a pick during the regular season.
Well, we talked about it coming into this game and how dominant that Vikings defensive 4 was going to have to be, and they've been it and more.
Now a handoff is to Chester Taylor, and Taylor brings it down inside the 15-yard line to gain of 1.
And go back and take a look at it, and you're going to see the rush here, and then Jimmy Kennedy is going to be the one who gets his hands up that keeps Romo then from being able to deliver the throw on time. And at that point, Romo's vision was probably blocked and just never saw Ben Lieber, because at first blush Patrick Creighton, ran a pretty good route and was open, but because Romo couldn't throw it on time, he just couldn't get it out to him.
2nd and 9. Delayed handoff. That's Peterson. And Peterson gains 3. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter. And it is what it was at the half. 17-3 home team. Vikings up with a quarter to go. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station. Vikings defense has forced 3 turnovers. Vikings offense has scored 2 touchdowns, and they're faced with a 3rd and 6 at the Dallas 11. Pass complete to Harvin. He is spilled by Terrence Newman at the 10. A gain of 1. It's 4th down. So the field goal unit will come on for Minnesota.
Yeah, well, Dallas defensively, once again put in a bad position with a turnover, and yet they hold up and handle their end of the bargain in terms of not allowing 7 points.
Longwell 1 for 1. This will be a try from 28. And drilled by Ryan Longwell. 2 for 2. Let's go back to that interception thrown by Romo.
And we'll go back and take a look at it, and as you're going to see, here's Lieber here. He's going to work, and then this, and it was actually Jimmy Kennedy coming from that side, which is how he was able to get his hands up. Just a good effort there by Jimmy Kennedy, going up and trying to do what he could to potentially knock the ball down, and Ben Lieber then being in the right position. And Tony Romo was talking to Patrick Creighton over on the sidelines as if he was expecting something else. But I don't know that Romo had enough time, even if Creighton had maybe done what he had wanted him to. And we talked about the crowd noise coming into this ball game and how that was going to impact them. And Colombo playing out there on the outside at tackle, it's difficult. And this Vikings defense, as we know, has been much better all year long at home, and there's a big reason for that. And this 12th man, this crowd, is the biggest difference.
There's the day for Tony Romo. He's lost 2 fumbles, thrown an interception. And that's been the big change in his game as this season has progressed. Protecting the football. He has not been able to do that here this afternoon. And so Longwell will kick it. Felix Jones is waiting deep for it for Dallas. And he'll try it from inside the end zone. Hoping for some spark, and it doesn't happen. Can't make the 20. And now we welcome you inside our broadcast booth with the Vikings going back to work defensively. I've been so impressed with the job that they've done. They had the bye week, and they have really brought some intensity here into this game.
Yeah, and I know there were some question marks. They finished up the season obviously very well there against the Giants. At one time it looked like they were not even going to be the number 2 seed. They got that back, and coming into this ball game, I think the rest really did them some good, and they have played lights out here today.
So Ray Edwards back in the game. Romo looking for somewhere to go with it, just flips it forward and gets it to Witten. And that's an 8.5-yard gain to Jason Witten. And now Edwards is going to have to come back out. It's not working with that right knee. And it gave on him again. What a day he's had. 2nd and 2. Romo throws. Witten gets behind the linebacker Greenway and has a completion of 23.
Well, they've been able to control Witten pretty good for the most part throughout this game, but he's able to get a free release. He came up hobbled a little bit there after he got to the sideline after making that catch, but he was able to get a free release off the line, and then the time that Romo was able to afford is what led to that completion.
Hurry up attack. That was a 23-yard completion, longest play of the day for the Dallas offense. Here is Felix Jones. Screen play doesn't work, and a flag comes in. Ineligible downfield against Dallas. Griffin made that last play.
Ineligible player downfield, number 63, offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
Kozar, the left guard.
The one thing that I've been impressed with, Joe, in addition to how hard Minnesota has been playing defensively, has been that they've tackled well, and that's one of the things that we talked about coming into this ball game, was that they were going to have to be able to get guys on the ground once they got the ball in their hands, and for the most part, Minnesota has done that.
1st and 15 now, and the pass complete to Witten. Witten gets 7. Ben Lieber made the play for this Minnesota defense.
Well, this will be a little different for this defensive front now. With Dallas having to go into the hurry up, that defensive front is going to tire quickly.
Quick throw to Creighton. Creighton cannot get away from Tyrell Johnson. A gain of 4. 3rd down coming up.
I think at this point, with it being 3rd down, my guess is that Dallas is definitely looking at this as 4-down territory, so they've got 2 downs. then to pick up 4 yards.
Romo gets away from Kevin Williams and cannot get away from Kennedy.
Pretty good move here by Kevin Williams. You're going to see he starts like he's going to drop into coverage. He's right here in the middle, and he starts back. And because he starts back as if he's going to drop, Kyle Kozar, the left guard, completely turns him free, and he then is the one who puts the pressure on Romo.
McBriar to punt. 6 Minnesota sacks in this game. Reynaud, the fair catch at the 14. They led the NFL in sacks during the regular season. They put up 6 in this playoff game against Dallas. That Minnesota defense keeps on coming as they lead by 17.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Windows 7, your PC simplified, by the Ford F-150, build Ford tough, and by Bud Light. With the just right taste that's not too heavy, not too light, the difference is drinkability.
All the work with the offensive line of the Cowboys, the defensive line for the Vikings. The Cowboys have had their hands full from the start. 6 sacks for Minnesota. And the Vikings, even with under 200 yards of offense, have been outgained by the Dallas Cowboys, lead by 17. Adrian Peterson pushes that pile up to the 20. A gain of 6 with nothing there.
Nothing there, and Jeff Dugan getting in behind that pile and pushing him along. And you know, somewhere in the middle of all this is going to be Adrian Peterson and just a scrum. And you know, right now, obviously, this is what Minnesota wants to do. I mean, this is the time of the game to where you want to be able to hand the ball off to your horse and let him pick up first downs and wind the clock down.
And hang on to the football. Adrian Peterson at 2.7 yards per rush. Percy Harvin in the backfield gets it. And Percy Harvin has a first down for the Vikings.
Hey, how tough is this guy? You know, he gets back there in the backfield. They motion him to the backfield, and a pretty good collision right there at the end of that run. And you know, Percy Harvin, in talking with Brad Childress, in addition to what you said earlier, Joe, they talk about the football instincts that Percy Harvin has, and that's why you're able to take a young man who was doing a lot of different things at Florida and make him a pretty complete wide receiver in just his rookie year.
A guy who's been dealing with severe migraine since he was a young man. Here's a handoff to Adrian Peterson. He's to the 29, a gain of 3. A couple of legends in these parts, a couple of Hall of Famers. But Grant is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The 82-year-old coach, longtime coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and Prince not in the Football Hall of Fame, but in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bud Grant, who we had a chance to visit with at practice on Friday, coached this team to 4 Super Bowls over an 8-year span. He was a great 3-sport star at the University of Minnesota. They coached for the Vikes from 67 to 83, and then they brought him back in 85, and he's still a consultant for this well-run franchise. As Favre rolls to his right, on the move throws. That's Brett Favre doing what he has done his entire career, hitting Sidney Rice for 20 yards.
Favre gets out on the corner, and Sidney Rice just keeps the play alive. There's a hit by Keith Brooking, but nothing wrong with that hit. But Sidney Rice, you can see he just stays alive. And Brett Favre has great confidence in throwing the ball to Sidney Rice and knowing that he's going to be where he expects him to be and then make a play.
And Brett Favre has great confidence in Brett Favre.
Yeah.
How long has he been rolling to his right, throwing back across his body over the middle of the field, which is a no-no, and doing it with great success as Adrian Peterson carries it to the 45. There's history between these two franchises, certainly. In 1975, Dallas at Minnesota, 27-degree day. Cowboys trail the Vikings by 4, 24 seconds left. And it was Roger Staubach who threw what he called a Hail Mary. First time that phrase had been used to Drew Pearson. Vikings fans to this day claim that Pearson should have been flagged for pass interference.
And Bud Grant said that 75 version was his best and most complete team.
Here is Adrian Peterson taking it to the 45-yard line on 2nd down. 3rd down coming up, but also approaching the 8-minute mark in this game as time runs out on Tony Romo. Certainly running out on Romo and the Dallas Cowboys here today.
You talked about our conversation there with Bud Grant, and he has an office there at the facility. He comes in once or twice a week, checks his mail, and he told me the key was keeping his head down and his mouth closed. And I said, is that the key to longevity and living a long life? He said, no, that's the key to keeping an office at the facility.
And remaining a consultant. Very understated, great sense of humor, and an avid outdoorsman. On 3rd down, Favre backpedaling as he lofts it for Rice. How good is that combo? That's their 3rd of the day. Touchdown, Vikings. The regular season numbers are nice for Brett Favre, but it's a day like this in a playoff game. Main reason why he came back. A much younger Favre, Super Bowl 31. Helmet off, hands in the air. And today, new league rules, he has to keep his helmet on, but the hands are up, and so are the Vikings. Brett Favre has had that day. 3 touchdowns to Sidney Rice, 200 yards through the air. On the return, it's Ogletree from the 5. Looking for room to run, had some. Tackle made by Heath Farwell, the Pro Bowler. There's number 3 on the day. Sidney Rice has had him a 47, 16 yards, 45 yards through the Dallas secondary.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, official wireless service sponsor of the NFL.
(27-3), the Vikings lead it. 7.5 minutes away from stamping their ticket to New Orleans, as far as Romo throws. What a catch by Jason Witten, and he's out of bounds with a gain of 8.5.
We go back and take a look at the route. Sidney Rice runs here on Mike Jenkins. Actually pretty good coverage here, but you're going to see Rice go get it right there at the top of that route, a ball that was thrown to the inside, and he just went after it. And that's the thing that Rice has done throughout this season. I mean, it really has been remarkable watching him perform at the level he has.
Here is a little push forward of a pass to Felix Jones, incomplete. It's 3rd and 2.
You know, a lot was made as to how Brett Favre was going to play coming into this game and how would he deal with some of the pressures and expectations, because, you know, let's face it, this was a playoff team a year ago and they were expected to be in the playoffs this year, and it's what they did from this game forward. And you know, all you got to do really is look at the games that he had against Green Bay. He had not been any more nervous in his entire career than what he was going into those 2 games, and he played great, as we all know. Not surprising he came out here and played the way he did today.
Handoff on 3rd and 2, and the play is made by Fred Evans. A loss of 2. Felix Jones, and it's 4th down. And the Dallas offense will stay on the field. 4th down and 4. Jerry Jones is down on the field. Ziggy Wilf loans this Vikings franchise upstairs. 4th and 4. Romo hits Witten, and another play made by this Vikings defense. It's Greenway. Vikings take over on downs. A dominant day by the Vikings defense. It continues under 6.5 to play. Brett Favre, a 3-time league MVP, number 1 all-time in wins by quarterback, touchdown passes by quarterback, passing yards. In the Super Bowl 1996. 23rd career postseason start. Hands off to Adrian Peterson. He gets nothing. Igor Olshansky made the play. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Brett Favre, who did not sign until August.
Charge timeout.
Dallas takes their first timeout. Favre did not sign until August. And he put together arguably his best year. Certainly one of his best. Tonight on Fox, the action is nonstop. First, it's the heart-pounding Human Target preview event. Then don't miss the 2-hour season premiere of 24. It's a big night tonight on Fox. It all starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here.
When you talk about the year that Brett Favre had, you know, he was the best in the NFL as far as touchdowns to interception ratio. I mean, we're talking about Brett Favre, you know, a guy who was always high risk, high reward. And that's been the most remarkable thing, the way that he was able to protect the football. This was a guy who has averaged 17 interceptions a year throughout his career.
Here's Peterson, takes it to the 30. Brett Favre, who threw 29 interceptions in 2005, threw 22 last year with the Jets. Had his biceps tendon worked on over the offseason. The late sign. You and I talked about it during our preseason telecasts with the risk that Brad Childress had. Yeah, you have a Hall of Famer coming in, but you also risk losing something as Dallas takes their 2nd timeout by making this entire organization and franchise wait for the whim of one player to determine when he's coming into camp.
But I think they knew. I mean, they knew that in order to get where they want to go, they had to be better at that position. They had to have more of a passing attack, and so they were going to be willing to wait as long as they did. Make no mistake, it's a huge win for Brett Favre. It's a huge win for Brad Childress. Brett told us the other day that, hey, I want to go on, but if I don't, you know, I feel like I did my job. I think it would have been an empty feeling had they not have won this game.
It's 3rd down and 7. Now 4th down. No gain on a carry by Adrian Peterson. Spears made the tackle. Brett Favre had been 3-7 over his last 10 playoff starts. He had been 0-3 in his career against the Dallas Cowboys, who take their final timeout in his career during the playoffs. 2-9 overall. So he saw that familiar uniform across from him, and for the first time in his postseason history, Brett Favre will get over the Dallas Cowboys.
And there's something to be said for winning a playoff game, and every team has more aspirations than just winning a playoff game. But Dallas, you know, on the other hand, highly disappointed. You know, the hottest team in the NFC coming into this ball game, and they really felt that they had a great chance of playing well and winning this game. But if nothing else, at least they were able to get over the hump and win a playoff game, something that hadn't happened in a long time. Wade Phillips had never won a playoff game. Tony Romo. And so from that standpoint, they can go into the offseason and at least look at themselves and know they got better.
4th down and 7. Vikings will go for it, try and run it out, and in the end zone off the right hand of Sidney Rice, who was looking for a 4-touchdown day. You could see Brett say it was worth a shot. Why? Well, he was good for 47 yards for the first points of the day to Sidney Rice. Then 16 yards as Rice was blocking early, slipped in behind the defense and took it into the end zone. And then the latest one, 45 yards as he got it, taking it away from Mike Jenkins. A 3-touchdown day for a guy who has really blossomed with Favre as his quarterback.
Yeah, and 2 of those 3 touchdowns were pretty well contested. One by Sensabaugh and then the last one by Michael Jenkins, and yet he was the guy who made the play.
Here's a ball tipped into the air and it falls incomplete. Jason Witten, the intended target. 2nd down and 10. Madieu Williams got in there. There's 6 minutes left in this game, but while they celebrate down on the Minnesota sideline, at some point here I'm going to ask you about next week's matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints, which we are headed for with what's happened over the last 24 hours. Here's another one batted back in the face of Romo. Allen was over there. 3rd and 10.
You always judge great players on how they play late in games when games are decided. And Jared Allen still giving great effort.
The Vikings defense, Troy, that has 3 takeaways, 6 sacks, 13 negative yardage plays that they've forced, and they've allowed only 3 points. Third down and 10. Romo just nothing to do with the football. Flips it for Felix Jones, and he's brought down short of first down yardage by Greenway, a gain of 7.
We talked about it a little bit earlier, Joe, but I'd like to revisit just the job that Rick Spielman has done assembling this Minnesota roster. I mean, it really is remarkable when you look at the young players that he's drafted and then the key free agents that they blended these young players with.
How about the most Pro Bowlers on 4th down off the hands of Austin? Vikings take over on downs. The Vikings have 9 Pro Bowlers, more than any other team in the NFL. 4 All-Pros, including that guy in the middle, Jared Allen. And they've done it, as you said, through the draft, through trade with Jared Allen, through free agency. All 3 phases, and Rick Spielman has assembled tremendous depth on this roster, and now they have the guy in Brett Favre to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do you see teams go out and bring in a high-priced free agent? I mean, heck, all we got to do is look down here on the field and Roy Williams, and a guy that they gave a lot to that really didn't produce for the team the way that they had hoped. But yet Steve Hutchinson, Brett Favre, Jared Allen, Bernard Berrien, those key guys each year have really contributed to the success of this club.
Here's Peterson. Peterson's been bottled up today. Siavi is there to make the tackle, a gain of 1. The number 1 seeded New Orleans Saints are at home and watching this action here today. They know now that they'll play the Minnesota Vikings in the Superdome, which was the site of the pinnacle of the career of Brett Favre when he won Super Bowl 31 over the New England Patriots.
Well, I really thought coming into this game, Joe, that for Minnesota to win, Adrian Peterson was going to have a much bigger game than what he has had here today. But I know looking at next week's game, I really believe that to be true again.
Here's a throw. That's Berrien making the catch and spinning his way inside the 20. Clock continues to run. Peterson on the day at the moment, 24 carries, 60 yards, and a per carry average of 2.5. So they've held him in check, but he's always lurking as the big home run hitter and running back for the Vikings.
And I think that's probably how you have to go after New Orleans. I mean, yesterday's ball game, you see what Arizona did first play of the game, rushing touchdown, didn't do much after that. New Orleans certainly keys on the takeaway defensively, and they got a lot of those yesterday.
Here's Peterson over the right side. Spencer is on his back, and Adrian Peterson carries him for a gain of 5.
You know, we talk about the struggles that Minnesota had late in the year. I think we need to point out those struggles were games on the road. This has not been a team that's played particularly well, especially late on the road, late in the season. And so they knew They knew that more than likely, if they're going to get to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to be able to win on the road. And now they know that that's going to be in New Orleans. And, you know, this is a difficult place to play. I can attest to that, having played here both in the regular season as well as in postseason. Well, that Superdome in New Orleans, that's no picnic either.
2nd down and 5. Handoff is to Peterson. Peterson lost a yard. Vikings will be 9-0 this season at home. They finished the regular season 8-0, 3rd time in the 28-year history of this building that they went undefeated at home. And Brett Favre now, if you add this game in, 24 touchdown throws against only 2 interceptions here at Mall of America Field.
You know, you keep waiting for when he's going to have one of those games, and I know Viking fans are saying, quit talking about it. But only one time this year has Brett Favre thrown more than 1 interception. I mean, I keep going back to that, but that really is amazing, and yet he hasn't lost his big play ability.
3rd down and 6. Here's Berrien. Newman on the stop. Short of 1st down yardage, and the Vikings will just try and pick up the 1st down. It appears they keep their field goal unit on the sideline on 4th down as we approach the 2-minute warning. And we will be at the 2-minute warning as they celebrate here in Minnesota. Brett Favre for the day, a quarterback rating of 132.6, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 220 yards, and countless smiles. AT&T postgame shows coming right up after the action with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. AFC Divisional preview. Jets at San Diego coming up later. On 4th down, play action. Favre, end zone, Shenko. How about another? Touchdown Vikings.
You don't think the Vikings were trying to make a statement with that one, do you?
Well, I was going to say they just rubbed the Cowboys' nose in it here with 1:55 remaining. Brett Favre has his 4th touchdown pass of the game. Let's see how the Dallas Cowboys feel about that as Keith Brooking goes over to their sideline, yelling at the back of Brett Favre, and Jared Allen is yelling back at Keith Brooking.
Well, Brookings' defense should just stop the play. I mean, I don't think Keith Brookings in a position to complain about what they did, but it was clear. It was clear based on the way they approached that series and throwing the ball that they had every intention of coming away with points.
4 touchdown passes against no interceptions for Brett Favre. Now 43 career playoff touchdown passes. Number 2 all-time to Joe Montana is Brett Favre. You can break that record next week in New Orleans. And there's the catch by Shenko, who had 11 touchdowns during the regular season. But as you look at how that unfolded, Troy, you think, well, it's 4th down. They're not bringing the field goal unit on. They don't want to run it up. They don't want to add points, so they'll just run it. If they get it, they run the clock out. If they don't, they hand the ball over on downs, and they throw it and get a touchdown, which is a little salt in the wound for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I think that's what Keith Hamlin was thinking, too, the safety for Dallas, because Visante Shenko just ran right by him.
And there's Brooking again. Meanwhile, on the other side, so much talk all year about the fate of Wade Phillips. Cowboys have a contract option on Wade Phillips next year. They have not exercised that option, have not picked it up. They made a coaching change during the week, signing Paul Pasqualoni to coach the defensive line as Ogletree comes out on the kick return, losing Todd Grantham to run the defense at Georgia. And Wade Phillips, who finally got that first playoff win last week at home over Philadelphia. His group took it on the chin here today. How would you rate his hold on the head coaching position with the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I said it earlier. Jerry Jones has got high expectations, and he's not a patient man. And for anyone who thinks that winning a wild card playoff game is going to satisfy Jerry Jones, they're they're sadly mistaken. Having said that, most people felt that Wade Phillips needed to win a playoff game to secure his job for next season, and I believe that that's the case. I think he overall has done a good job, and I believe that he'll be back.
Handoff is to Felix Jones. Jones picks up 9. Jimmy Kennedy on the tackle. A postseason career high 4 touchdown passes for Brett Favre. And that last one has upset the Dallas sideline, you can bet. But as you said, if you don't like it, stop it. And the Dallas defense could not. 3 to Sidney Rice, 1 to Visanthe Shiancoe, and on 2nd and 1, a first down for Jones.
Well, I know Jimmy Johnson is back in studio, and he'll be weighing in on this game when this game is over. And you know, he'll be the first one to tell you, that you play for 60 minutes, and if you've got a problem with something, then do something about it. So, I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised what Minnesota did there. I don't think there was anything wrong with it, but I do think, Keith Brooking was probably out of line, showing his emotion there in the way it was handled.
Felix Jones has really come on here at the end of the year. Carries for 6 as the clock continues to wind. No timeouts remaining, and in the end, it's a blowout with the Minnesota Vikings up by 31 points here at home, knocking out the Dallas Cowboys, who won the NFC East with a record of 11-5.
Well, now we'll see what happens. Yesterday the home teams won. Home team here wins, and of course we've got a big matchup with the San Diego Chargers and the New York Jets. But really looking forward to next weekend's NFC Championship game.
Handoff for a first down to Felix Jones, but now under 20 seconds left, and that could be the last play of the day. Next Sunday at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, the Minnesota Vikings take on the New Orleans Saints with a shot at the Super Bowl. Let's go down to Brett Favre and Chris Myers.
Thanks, Joe. Congratulations. First, you're going to the NFC Championship game. You took the Vikings. Talk about the game and the year.
Well, today was like this season. It's been wonderful. I have to admit, I was really concerned going into this game, as I should have been. The Cowboys have been playing outstanding. And to win the way we did, it doesn't mean anything for next week other than the fact that we're playing. But it was convincing, to say the least. To play the way we did today, we'll have to play that way in order to win next week. Because, of course, the New Orleans Saints are explosive. And so I'm just so happy that we're in this game.
Is this a little emotional for you?
Well, I'm kind of worn out right now, but it is. It was emotional before the game. Just to be in this position after all the stuff that took place is just it's a wonderful moment. Now, I know we're not done yet. I hope we continue on after next week. It'll be tough, but man, can't say enough about the guys I'm playing with, staff, the fans today. It was everything I thought it would be throughout this year, and then some.
And you go back to New Orleans, site of your Super Bowl win. All right, thanks, Brett. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Joe?
Well, I'm sure Brett Favre would tell you it's been more than worth it. Coming back out of retirement again and taking the Minnesota Vikings into the NFC Championship game for a date with the New Orleans Saints. The AT&T postgame show is coming up after the break here on Fox.